What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we're going to be diving into the Ultra League Weather Cup with a very strong and somewhat unique team here. We have Jellicent, which by the way is not fully maxed out. I believe it's only like level 44.5 as I don't have enough XL Candy to actually fully power it up. We also have Kyurem and Mr. Rime. Mr. Rime right here is spicy, but honestly, Confusion to Icy Wind and Psychic, I think it performs pretty well. Alright, getting into the first battle here, we have Jellicent on the lead versus Jellicent. Mirror fight. Now, notice how I said at the beginning of the video, mine is not maxed out. As you can see, mine is 2300 combat power, and theirs is 2500. So I'm not going to be winning the CMP tie. So what I'm going to do here is look to no shield, as they will throw the Shadow Ball, and then now I'm going to look to go for a Shadow Ball of my own. If I get a shield from them, I'll look to potentially shield the next charge move and go for another Shadow Ball. So they do decide to shield right there, and now they're deciding to go for Surf in order to take us out. So I'm going to go ahead and give up the shield here and then go for another Shadow Ball to try to get 2 shields. But they make a good swap into Reg Ice on the safe swap right here, which is actually troublesome for my team. So I'm going to come in with Mr. Rime. Now look at this confusion damage. It's actually doing a decent amount here in the Ultra League. I'm also going to go ahead and let this charge move go through. It is going to be Thunder, and we can tank it pretty well. Mr. Rime right here is actually putting in some work, as we will now go for the Psychic on what I believe might be CMP tie, or they're just about to have the charge move here, and it takes out the Reg Ice. Perfect. Now we will see the Jellicent come back in, and this is a really unique situation where we could get ourselves another shield. So we're going to go ahead and go for the Psychic. Let's see if they decide to give up their final shield. They do. Beautiful. Now we still have our own Jellicent, and we have Kyurem in the back, as they will now probably be going for Surf to take us out. But Kyurem with a shield, with some energy, might just be able to close this game out. So we're going to go ahead and come in with it. Load up on energy. This could be the hardest hitting move left in the game. It's likely going to be Shadow Ball, so I will give up the final shield. And now let's see what they have in the back. It is going to be a Credilli, so we're going to go ahead and go for the Glaciate, as it will do a ton of damage and will also guarantee lower the opponent's attack right here, as you guys can see. And then we got to make a beautiful swap into Jellicent, which is why I decided to save my Jellicent in this situation, so that it can catch a charge move for us, as it is going to be the Stone Edge. So that is going to be a good game, very well played, as I can now go for Dragon Claw here to take them out. I should have thrown it sooner, to be honest. I should have just thrown it right away, but I was trying to Dragon Breath them down, as we do still have a Jellicent in the back, which now allows me to get this Dragon Claw off, and that's going to be a good game. So this team is actually quite a bit of fun. There is some finesse that you need to have, like we saw in the lead, unless you have a fully powered up Jellicent, unlike me, or Reg Ice here, which does have access to Thunder. So we need to be very careful about that. Now, it doesn't one-shot, which is going to allow us to safely tank 1 Thunder, but we can't tank 2. So we're going to go ahead and go straight for the Shadow Ball here in the lead, as we do land it. That's a good chunk of damage. Now I tried to swap there into Kyurem to catch the charge move because it was likely going to be Thunder, so now I'm forced to shield right here. And I'm going to see, you know what, if I can get to another Shadow Ball in time, but no. They get to Thunder very, very quickly, and they overcharged the last time. So I'm going to go ahead and let this go. As you guys can see, it does not one-shot us, but now we can get to the Shadow Ball here, and this is a tough situation where they could be weak in the back to Jellicent, so we need to look to potentially swap out. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Mr. Rime and fully Confusion down, but they do get to a 3rd charge move in time, which is fine. Mr. Rime can easily tank it, as they decide to go for Focus Blast. That did a lot of neutral damage though, and in comes Credilli. Now, what's beautiful about this situation is we have Icy Wind. Icy Wind, as you guys know, and they give up a shield as well, is that move that we see on Dugong quite a bit in the Great League. Ice-type move, lower the opponent's attack, as they now go for Grass Knot. So, we have a tough situation on our hands. Granted, Credilli's attack is lowered, but we have a Jellicent and a Kyurem option here. Now, they're going to go ahead and swap into Tentacruel, which is perfectly fine by me. Dragon Claw is going to do so much damage, but I need to make sure I'm very careful about my energy here, because Jellicent now is coming back in, or I need to be careful about the Tentacruel energy here, because I can't let them load up too much as I need to get into Jellicent here as the switch clock is coming back up. And now we can safely go for Shadow Ball in this situation at the last second here to try to put some more pressure on that final shield. But ultimately, I think Kyurem is going to close this game out as we do get a final shield. And now we have a shield ourselves. So this is kind of tough. It's like, I think this might just be the Scald or Acid Spray. It is going to be the Scald, which we do resist. I don't think that was enough for a Sludge Wave. But now we can load up on a bit of extra energy and go for Dragon Claw here. Now, there's still Credilli in the back. So we have to hopefully get to the Glaciate here, which I think we can get to it just in time. But they do decide to surrender, so that's going to be a good game. Remember, we still had a shield there. All right, next up we got Jellicent versus Kyurem here on the lead. So this is always kind of a tough matchup because if we don't land the Shadow Ball, things get very dangerous very quickly, but we don't have to shield or we don't have to fear a Dragon Claw this early in the battle, which is always really nice. And they decide to swap into something. I don't know what it was, but it was a blind swap on them, and it was actually into a Jellicent. So now I'm going to reverse mirror match, or not mirror match, but reverse match this setup here, which is beautiful because now on the lead, you don't have to worry about Dragon Claw. But in a situation like this, when you're so low, Dragon Claw there is enough to KO. As we will now probably have the mirror fight here, but no, they decide to come in with Regirock. So we're going to go ahead and go for the Glaciate. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to it in time. So I'm thinking, you know what? I might just give up shields and invest in Kyurem right here because I'm doing a ton of damage both to Regirock and their own Kyurem in the back, as Glaciate will land for a good amount of neutral damage and lower the attack. And this is what's beautiful about Kyurem. And I don't think it's preached enough here in the Ultra League, especially in the Weather Cup where it really, really shines because of its typing. Now we see a swap out back into their own Kyurem as we can safely go for Dragon Claw. And now we can swap into Mr. Rime here, keeping just dancing around all our Pokemon because now we can go for Icy Wind as well. It's going to do some nice neutral damage and it will be lowering the attack, which is going to be very important on a Pokemon who relies on Dragon Breath and Dragon Claw to really take down opponents. So Icy Wind here now going to be landing, will get shielded, but it's going to land and apply that debuff. And as you guys can see, these confusions are chunking. This is what surprised me about Mr. Rime is just how consistent it is. Like, it's a beautiful combination here. We can easily come in and Dragon Breath down, and now there's just a Regirock in the back. We still have our Jellicent, and we still have Kyurem here with Dragon Claw and Dragon Breath, so that is going to be a good game, very well played. This team was so much fun to use. Now, one of these matches here has a crazy safe swap, which I'm hoping is this one, potentially. Because you don't, if you've never seen Mr. Rime before, you get very confused, literally, very quickly. But here in this matchup, we're looking pretty safe because of Surf, but we do need to watch out for the potential Zap Cannon on Regirock, which at the time I completely forgot about. I thought these were going to be Stone Edges, and maybe it has Focus Blast or something. But it does have Zap Cannon, so we got to remember that. That was a lot of damage done to me. And now we see a swap out into Gyarados. So they do a great job of catching this charge move right here. And now I'm going to have to come in with Mr. Rime. As Dragon Breath, we don't want to go into the mirror. We don't want to go into our own dragon with it. But Confusion right here is doing enough where I think if I shield, I might just be able to fully commit to the farm down right here. And hopefully Crunch doesn't apply a debuff, which it doesn't. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and commit to the full farm down with Confusion on Mr. Rime, which is beautiful. And now let's see what they decide to come back in with. Regirock doesn't have too much energy, so they do decide to come in with it. We're going to go ahead and go for Icy Wind. We want to apply those debuffs right here and try to bait out a shield, which they decide not to shield, which is fine. And now we can go for another one. The question is, do I double shield? Well, I'm gonna, because I think I can full Confusion down as Stone Edge is not going to be able to KO us. And we do see a Kingdra in the back. And this now is pretty dangerous for us because I'm going to have to catch a charge move. And hopefully I can go for another Icy Wind. No, I cannot. So the win con of this game is catching Outrage. And I don't catch it in time, even though the Kingdra here is debuffed. Outrage, boom, one-shots my Kyurem, and that is going to be a good battle, very well played. So unfortunate for me right there, but my opponent made a great swap to catch the Surf on the Gyarados, and then I invested too many shields into my Mr. Rime. Alright, so we got Sand Slash here on the lead. We don't really need to worry about charge moves. I mean, honestly, even Bulldoze is not that threatening to us because it only does a little bit amount of neutral damage, and especially Ice Punch is heavily resisted. So we're sitting pretty good in this matchup. We're looking to do as much damage with Shadow Ball right here, but because it is the Ultra League, these kind of moves don't KO, but we get a shield anyways, which is very, very nice. Now, they built up enough energy here for a Bulldoze, so I might just decide to respect it as we do shield the Bulldoze. That's beautiful. So now we can overload on energy, look to go for another Shadow Ball, trying to get this Sand Slash low. And we'll have to see what they have in the back, as we might just be able to get to a Surf now in time, which we do, but this is on CMP tie, and I think this might actually just be an Ice Punch, which it is, which means we can survive and go for the Surf here. Now, I'm going to get farmed down, so my best bet is actually to swap out into Mr. Rime, which I do, and get a Confusion down. That way I save Jellicent for a sack swap later on. So let's see what decides to come in. It is going to be their own Jellicent. Okay, so this is obviously going to be tough for us. We're a pure Psychic, or not pure Psychic, we're Psychic Ice. But that was too quick to be Shadow Ball. It's just going to be a Surf, which is fine by me. But now we can put a lot of pressure down with Psychic here, as it just does so much neutral damage from Mr. Rime. And they will actually be able to farm us down. Hopefully they don't, but they actually now decide, had they shielded that, they'd be able to farm us down. But instead they decide to no shield and throw the Surf here. So now we can come in with our Kyurem and look to Dragon Breath down. But unfortunately, they do get to another charge move. But thankfully, I was keeping count, and this is just going to be a Surf. It's not enough for Shadow Ball, so we can easily let that go. Final Pokemon is going to be Kingdra, and this is going to be a close race, a revenge of the matchup as last round. The Kingdra that I faced off against one-shot me with Outrage, but this time I get to double Dragon Claw in time, and this is looking to be a good game, very well played, as this is just going to do so much super effective damage in the matchup. And we still have a shield, but it doesn't matter. Kyurem takes it there. Good battle. All right, moving into the next one. We have Jellicent on the lead versus Golem. Okay, this is kind of a tough one. I'm going to go ahead and swap out right away into Mr. Rime. And this was the thing I was talking about. Look at the chunks from Blaziken. It's getting absolutely destroyed. The blind swap in. Oh my goodness, that was so satisfying. Unfortunate for my opponent, but so satisfying for me, as we will see Golem come back in. Now, I should have read that they'd probably be very frustrated. I should just be throwing Icy Winds, but I instead decide to go for the Psychic there, and I really needed the attack debuff, honestly, from Icy Wind so we can survive some moves. But they're going to go ahead and go for Stone Edge here to take us out. Boom, down we go. Now, we got to come in with Kyurem. Both of these matchups are not the best, and they have a lot of energy, but my hope is that we can just Dragon Breath down. But we do see a swap now into Walrein, so we're going to go ahead and save that energy and come in with Jellicent. Now, Walrein right here has to land 2 Earthquakes in order to take us out. By that time, I think we should be able to get to 2 Shadow Balls on our end. And honestly, 2 Earthquakes actually might not be enough, and this isn't a fully XL Jellicent. Like I said, mine is only 2300 combat power, but it still performs very well. So now, we're going to see if we can get to this next charge move in time, but unfortunately it looks like they do get to the Earthquake unless they pulled early on Icicle Spear. No, it is going to be the Earthquake, and we actually don't survive that. But now we have a really good opportunity to load up on a ton of energy, and they're going to be forced to throw Icicle Spear here because of our typing, and that means we can survive. And now they come in with Golem, and now this is a matter of how much energy do they have, because they went for another fast move there. They decide to shield the Dragon Claw, and now I can get to another one in time. And honestly, I don't think they have enough, as Dragon Claw is barely going to be enough to take them out. And that is looking to be a good game, very well played, as Kyurem takes it here with Dragon Claw sweeps. That got very dangerous very quickly. I think I could have played that better with Mr. Rime, just going for back-to-back Icy Winds against the Golem, and we would have been in a lot better situation. But good game. All right, we got Jellicent versus Jellicent once again. Again, a very tough lead. Theirs is maxed out. Mine is not. Literally, you can see 2,301 combat power to 2,491. So they're basically 200, near 200 combat power above me. But this just goes to show that just because a Pokemon is 200 combat power above you in this Ultra League, especially when it comes to XLs, doesn't mean that you can't use it. I mean, look at how close this, I mean, it's closer than you would initially think, right? So we're going to go ahead and no-shield it as they do decide to go for the Surf. So now we're going to come in with Kyurem and Dragon Breath down. They won't be able to get to another charge move in time. We have Mr. Rime in the back as well, and we have a good amount of energy here on Kyurem. So let's see what they decide to bring in. It is going to be a Samurott. So this is obviously a very, very favorable matchup for us because of our typing right here. We just need to watch out for that Mega Horn, as it's going to do a good amount of damage. So I will give up a shield on the potential Mega Horn and then just Dragon Breath down. I mean, honestly, Kyurem is going to take this one for us, and they do have an Abomasnow that comes in. So we're going to go ahead and go for the Glaciate. We should be able to now swap into Mr. Rime as the attack drop applied, and Confusion. This is the Ultra League, everyone. Confusion is just chunking right here from Mr. Rime. I am fully impressed with Mr. Rime's gameplay today, as we can fully Confusion down. They do get to another charge move, which is fine. Kyurem is going to take this game for us, so we're going to save the shield for it as Weather Ball is resisted. And now we have the Samurott coming back in. So we're going to go ahead and go for Icy Winds right here, just to make sure to apply those debuffs. And yeah, this is going to be a good game. Look at the chunks coming out from Confusion on Mr. Rime. It's so cool. I mean, this is a Pokemon you would never use, ever. You would never use it. You never touch it. You never even think about it. But in the Ultra League Weather Cup, it is actually putting in work. It's doing a very good job with team synergy and debuffs and needed fast move damage. Now we do have a Swampert here on the lead in this battle, which again, similar to the Walrein matchup, we only really need to watch out for the Earthquake. And if they don't have Earthquake, if they have Sludge Wave, it's even better because of our typing. But we can easily take this matchup or just soft lose and let them dump all their energy, which is fine. So we're going to go ahead and let the Earthquake go through. And yeah, that's a good amount of damage, but they do decide to swap into their own Walrein. Now, I do get to the Shadow Ball here to apply a good amount of pressure, but now I need to consider swapping out. And I'm going to look to now swap into Mr. Rime as we did land the charge move. And this is what's a beautiful opportunity for us, is if we shield correctly, and this is Earthquake, which it is, we might just be able to farm down right here with Confusion. So we're going to go ahead and do that, but they get to another charge move. Excuse me, they get to another charge move, and I got scared. I got real scared, and I shielded. I shouldn't have right there. That was a mistake on my end. But we do see Swampert come back in, so we're going to go ahead and go for Icy Wind now to apply those debuffs. But honestly, I could have gotten away with the no shield on the next High School Spirit. That's a miscount by me, but they instead decide to swap now into Shadow Abomasnow, which gives us a big win opportunity because of the damage from Icy Wind and Confusion, and the attack drops. Oh my goodness, and I swap into Jellicent now to force their energy, and things are now looking good. Mr. Rime comes in clutch. Absolutely clutch. The farm down we had on Shadow Walrein, the Icy Wind debuffs, the Confusion damage. This thing is out of control, as we are now going to be taking out the Shadow XL Abomasnow. And as we survive as well, this is insane! As he's tap dancing on his icy boots right there, we go for an Icy Wind, and now we should be able to close this game out with Kyurem as we get in an extra 2 Confusions and the attack debuff. That's what's huge, as you guys are now going to see Earthquake not KO us. It's not going to be enough to KO. That is beautiful, and they do decide to surrender. So what looked like kind of a bad matchup because we decided to double shield ended up being very good because that energy was able to go places. All right, we got another Jellicent here on the lead, so this is again a very tough matchup because of the 2300 combat power on our side and the 2500 combat power on their side. So we're going to play this exactly the same. We're going to no shield the Shadow Ball. We're going to go for one of our own. If they decide to shield and then throw a Surf, we're going to shield the Surf and go for another Shadow Ball. If they decide to swap out, let's see if we can get to the Shadow Ball in time. It's going to be very close. We do get to it, so they instead want to go into 2 shields with us on the lead. Nope, they decided to let it go. So I'm going to go ahead and fast swap now into Kyurem and shield this charge move because I save my own Jellicent. That's huge. You guys have seen it pay off multiple times today as we are now 3 Pokemon to 2. Even shields 1-1 and in comes an Incineroar. Now, Incineroar is typically going to be running Flame Charge. It has Snarls, a fast move, and Flame Charge and Dark Pulse would be the ideal move set. So we don't necessarily need to shield this first charge move coming through. It is just going to be the Flame Charge. So we might just be able to Dragon Breath down. Now we're going to go ahead and go for another Dragon Claw here. And if they decide to let this go, I think we take this matchup and we'll have to see what their final Pokemon is. Yep, we take down Incineroar. Final Pokemon is Tentacruel. And you guys can already see what is about to happen. We are about to confusion down with Mr. Rime. Talk about a slap. Maybe not a slap in the face. They're trying to slap us in the face with the tentacles right there. But confusion now chunking, and they decide to surrender. And that is going to be a good battle. Very well played. This team was so much fun to use. I went absolutely bonkers. 2 4-1 sets with this team and finally got to veteran. It has been taking me a while. I've been back and forth in the 2400s for a while now. But ultimately, we finally got to veteran using Mr. Rime. You wouldn't have guessed it. You wouldn't have thought about it. But it has play. Confusion, Icy Wind, and Psychic. Kyurem as well with the Glaciate, Dragon Claw, and Dragon Breath. And then my Jellicent again is not fully maxed out, but I've used a bit of XL Candy that I did have access to power it up in order to make it viable. And I think it performed well today. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.